Green buses have become a stock image of the Syrian war. Civilian and anti-Assad armed groups have used them to evacuate from areas regained by Syrian government forces. The buses were seen last in Eastern Ghouta, the large suburb of Damascus. Civilians in the thousands have left their homes for areas where anti-Assad rebels are still in control. But what comes next for those who have been evacuated? Up next is a ground report directly from Syria.
The siege of Eastern Ghouta will be remembered as one of the longest and hardest of contemporary West Asia, one that transformed the entire eastern suburb of Damascus into a battlefield. Several anti-Assad Islamist groups took control of the area, and in 2013 the Syrian army sealed it off, blocking all access points. No one could get in, no one could get out. For 5 years, Ghouta's 400,000 residents lived isolated and trapped in the crossfire between anti-Assad militants and the regular army. Earlier this year, the Syrian army, along with its Russian allies, launched a brutal air offensive to quash anti-Assad resistance. For weeks, jet fighters and heavy artillery pounded Ghouta. For civilians, life became unbearable. Under the shower of bombs, prices skyrocketed, electricity became sketchy, and hospitals started running out of medicines. Firas Abdullah sent us this report from Ghouta back then.
1 kilo of rice here is about 3,000 Syrian pounds, and in Damascus we can find it in 200 Syrian pounds only. By the way, Damascus is about only 10 kilometers far from Douma city, and 1 kilo of spaghetti is about 2,500 Syrian pounds here, and in Damascus it's also in 250 Syrian pounds.
One by one, Ghouta's rebel strongholds surrendered. The city of Douma, once the cradle of the pro-democracy Syrian Arab Spring, was the last to fall.
The last days in Douma city were so bloody and full of massacres and victims by the continuous bombing by the Syrian regime against the civilians of Douma city and Eastern Ghouta. It was really raining mortars and bombs, and the airstrikes were had not stopped at all since the beginning of the campaign, of the military campaign that Assad regime launched in February of this year, and until the end of Eastern Ghouta.
The rebel group Jaish al-Islam, which controlled the city, started negotiating an evacuation. Civilians were suspended in limbo, with the Syrian infantry ready to storm the city should the deal collapse. Negotiations went on for days. After the much-discussed alleged chemical attack killed at least 30 people in Douma, Jaish al-Islam agreed to leave, and with it, tens of thousands of civilians.
So we just held our things, our stuff, our baggage, and brought our most important things and get up the buses, and we said goodbye to our home. We tried hard to stay in our land and in our streets. We tried hard to still smell our flowers.
Even though the Syrian government has the upper hand in the war right now, there are still significant areas it does not control. The city of Azaz, 30 kilometers north of Aleppo, is controlled by the anti-Assad group Free Syrian Army under Turkish security. It is here that some of the people who evacuated from Douma arrived. The Syrian government has no presence in Azaz, as is the situation in all areas close to the Turkish border. Despite this, life runs normally. Crowded streets and lively markets are common sights. A walk around the city makes it difficult to believe that the country is still at war. Prices are affordable here and everything is available.
We are in front of a goods store here. Let's get in and see what this store contains. As you see, we have eggs, good stuff. You can see that the store is filled of many good stuff. Just unlike Eastern Ghouta, what the situation has been. 1 kilo of rice is only 450 Syrian pounds. 325 Syrian pounds is 1 kilo of sugar. So you see now the difference between how was the prices in Eastern Ghouta and how is it now here in Azaz city, the northern countryside of Aleppo.
The days in Ghouta where only the luckiest could move around with electrical bikes are now a memory, as petrol and diesel too retail at regular prices in Azaz.
We are buying only 2 liters of petrol and we will pay 800 Syrian pounds. In Eastern Ghouta we used to pay 14,000 Syrian pounds for only 2 liters. So this is the difference between a free area that has border with Turkey and a besieged area was besieged from all its sides by regime forces.
Compared to the grim reality of besieged Ghouta, places like Azaz seem to be an oasis of peace, but the memories of home remain intact.
In the end, I've been displaced from my home, and my home were destroyed before I've been displaced. So I tried to stay, and we resisted until the end. So we did what we could to do.
The prospect of peace here is not everlasting. The Syrian president and his allies are unlikely to tolerate the fact that portions of the country remain under the control of those they consider terrorists.
And also, nobody knows how long this safety will last. The Syrian army could decide to attack at any time to recontrol the territories here in north countryside of Aleppo and in Idlib. From countryside of Aleppo, Firas Abdullah for WION.